All right. Welcome everyone today to our second AMA in the AMA Town Hall. My name is Sunshine Wilder and I head up growth here at Wilder World. And I'm accompanied by Rain Wilder, who is community lead. What's up, Rain?
Hello, good afternoon.
Just want to make sure, Rain, we're recording.
Yes, we are. I'll do a triple check. One sec.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We are incredibly thrilled to bring the community together to connect with another fellow project, Crypto Monks. Crypto Monks is launching a Metaverse Warriors. There's going to be a total of 3,333 Metaverse Warriors, which will seek opportunities on the Ethereum blockchain as they battle for control. So we're joined today by co-founders Patrick Gorell and Joshua. Welcome, guys. We have your entire team here. Joshua Tatum. Would you guys like to say hello and introduce yourselves to our community?
Hey, we're so happy to be here. My name is Joshua Tatum.
Hey guys, my name's Patrick. I think I spoke to some of you guys last night, and thanks for dropping by our server too. You guys crushed it last night. I had a lot of fun talking to you guys.
Yeah, it was
That was
hilarious.
fun.
You get a little
And then,
Wilder Nation takeover or what?
yeah,
Yeah, let's
definitely.
go
You
to
guys just blew
Temple.
up our server. Yeah, it was a lot of
Awesome.
fun, and I met some really cool people too. I got to meet some of the Wilder Nation. I was really excited about that.
Yay.
Very, very excited. Yeah, and joining us, I can kind of punch through real quick, but Rob, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Sunshine, rain, all of Wilder World, the whole family here. Thanks for having us. Excited to introduce the team and get things going. We've got some special gifts for everyone that sticks around to the end as well. Not sure if that was announced yet, but yeah, it's this is going to be a fun 45 minutes or so, depending on how many questions everyone watching or listening in live has for us. So excited for what's to come.
Yay.
Welcome, Rob.
I'm curious, is the general chat in the Discord here the best place to interact, post links or Twitter accounts or just interact and get questions? Is that
Yeah,
where we're gonna
for the most part, yeah, for sure. General is a really great place. We will um hopefully have a channel soon that's open where people can um show their social media and Twitter and stuff. So for now, general is a really great place.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So we'll do all our AMA and everything there. Beautiful.
Yeah, nice. Look, Champagne and Provoker are already talking in there.
Dang.
Hey, how's it
Nice.
going? Cool. Yeah, if you have any references or links to chill, definitely add them there and we can pin them for the day and just make sure people who missed the chat can still access those. And yeah, who else do we have joining here?
We have Jang Hofuku.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Matthew Jang, and yeah, really excited to dive in here.
Left Jang?
Awesome.
You guys,
Yeah,
you guys want
if,
to also share just a little bit about what your role is too, and how you kind of fit into the monks, like how the monks team fits together?
Yeah, perfect. So I'll kind of tee things up for Josh, Matt, and Patrick, Hofuku, Zone, and PJ here on the call. Um, Where do we even start? I guess we'll kind of go through everyone's short little background story of how they ended up here today first, and then from there we could make that transition and cover everything from A to Z, the explain it like I'm five version of the project all the way down to the nitty gritty, which the smart contracts, the roadmap, and everything to come within the Monk's verse with Patrick. So yeah, I guess probably the best way to start things off, I think, is with Josh, because Josh, obviously, you're very well connected with the Wilder team themselves. I'm curious if you want to share a bit of your background, how you connected with Wilder World, and yeah, give us a little understanding there, Joshua, and then we'll head over to Jang and Patrick.
Absolutely. Again, thank you, Water Nation, for having us tonight. So happy to be this afternoon. Sorry, so happy to be here. My background is in digital advertising. I created a company in 2017, Canvas Cultures. We're a global online marketplace. Worked with thousands of artists. In those years, we just amassed roughly 35 million, and really it was about platforming artists, getting them the visibility. And handling all of the marketing and manufacturing. And that's how I came across Frank. Honestly, I reached out via DM on Instagram, and wow, this is back in 2018. He must not have seen the first one, but he saw the second one, and quickly we set up a schedule to meet in Venice, out in Los Angeles, at a juicery. And so, to give you some, backstory, the person who I met with was a manager, and so the manager shows up, and we're speaking, and he's like, "Yeah, just tell me more about your background." So I go into my spiel on how I got into e-commerce, and how I was consulting on a number of brands. I consulted on an artist brand called Iconic, but it wasn't a brand at the time. They were doing about $2,800 a month, and within 3 months, we scaled them to $2 million with paid advertising and really focusing in on their desired audience. And from there, he actually knew of some of the artists that I had worked with. And so we ended up speaking for about an hour. I'm speaking with this manager. He's telling me all about, Frank's journey as an artist, and, how he loves to travel. And, obviously they had a jewelry brand at this time, frankwater.com. And man, I was so, number one, I loved the jewelry, but more so I loved, how he presented the jewelry to his community. And,
Hmm.
it was Sunshine, I'm sure you could attest to this, having the visual representations of the jury. I had never seen anything like that, like the 3D renderings, and how they were able to really like capture attention. And I thought it was great, and I wanted Frank Wilder to join Campus Cultures. And we had I had an amazing meeting with the manager, and towards the end I said, "Man, is Frank ever going to show up?" I mean, he mentioned that would be himself as well as his manager. And so the person I'm speaking with says, "Yeah, yeah, Frank's everywhere." And I was taken aback by that comment, and I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "We're all Frank, brother." And that was my intro into the Wilder world, and I was just blown away that, man, this young, tasteful, he was in a, Frank Wilder. I mean, to know him is to love him, right? I've
Right.
known
Yeah,
him
absolutely.
a long time, and he's a kindred spirit, an amazing talent, and man, that was just a hilarious connection, how this whole journey started.
Well, what's funny too is like it was his so-called manager, but it was Frank. And
Right,
and
exactly.
like I just love that like humble mysterious quality of him. And yeah, that's just an incredible story. I think like the some people don't know the backstory of Frank, and it's really like the concept of to be frank, right? To be honest, and to kind of show up just as you are, right? Without the expectation of anyone, you know, pushing an agenda or anything. And so
Right.
I just love how he like eased into that conversation and then totally like
I mean,
surprised
from
you
that
there.
day forth, we became like, himself and Phoenix, we just became brothers. We ended up working, again, my background is in advertising, and
Mhm.
from there, I never got them on canvas, but what I did do is, we sat down and really looked at the jewelry business. We looked at, his customer base. We looked at how much he was spending on advertising, and we really dialed in those metrics, and, went from $20,000 a month to just over 100K a month with some of the tactics that I implemented. And they went on to do, obviously the story is still being written. That's what I love so much about um, Frank Wilder and Phoenix and the whole community that you guys have built. Is you guys are always on the cutting edge, and it's always built with purpose and passion. Monetary gains is never in the conversation. It's always about pushing the culture forward, and being a part of groundbreaking innovation. So extremely excited to see what you guys have built. And obviously, like, I've been a part of all of it in terms of investing in a Wilder and Zero, and all of us have as well. We're all pretty big holders of the project, and we're just extremely grateful to be here, and would love to dive more into what we're building and all of that good stuff.
Yeah. Forever
Well,
evolving.
Well, I think that's also like a testament to like why you're here, right? Like your team is pushing the boundaries, and you guys have also been in the blockchain game for a while, and so I'd love to hear more from the team too, like how you and Patrick connected. Patrick, would love for you to share with the audience your background in blockchain and what you've been doing early on with Ethereum address mapping and just kind of give a little bit of insight to preface your guys' project and how cool it's going to be when it drops.
Yeah, so definitely.
Yeah.
But just real quick, Jin, you wanna
Yeah.
run through your spiel?
Yeah, so one thing we'll do too, and Josh is being very humble too. But one of his first artists, for example, was actually Frankie from Subducks, right? Was one of his first artists as well. I worked with tons and tons of artists, which is really, really cool. And maybe even before I jump in, just so you guys can get an idea of the art, Josh, you want to kind of touch on the artist and how we kind of got how we kind of came to that the art came to be.
Yeah, so a couple things. Like, I'm sure they want to know how this whole collective came to be. Patrick and I met on Facebook, right? Obviously, being a young entrepreneur in 2017, I'm always looking for opportunities, looking for new things to be a part of. And obviously, I was a novice trader, so I came across a post one day, and Patrick was a new friend of mine on Facebook, and I saw that he was sharing a lot of value on EOS, and what he had done is he mapped the entirety of Ethereum's blockchain, and he was pinpointing the highest the biggest whales, the highest, most profitable trades. And he was essentially showing how he was able to come across them and leveraging that data. And so I just, code DM'd him and said, "Hey man, I'm in Los Angeles, would love to meet." And he said, "Look, I'm free next week. Let's chop it up." So I ended up meeting him on Hollywood Boulevard, one of the biggest buildings. His company, he was the chief technology officer for Speaker, which was at the time the largest influencer marketing platform in the world. And when I go in there, I was a bit intimidated, right? I see this, this developer. One, he's standing 6'5". He's all of 6'5". Then he's managing a team of 20 to 30 engineers. It was just like, wow, man, this dude, he comes with a lot of weight. And so we sat down, man, and he really just showed me the applications that could be built on Ethereum, where technology in his mind was going. And this was in 2017. And this is the person who actually set me up with my first wallet and got me into the space. So obviously, man, I have a great love and admiration for Patrick, and same with Jang. I met Jang around 2017, 2018. He's an amazing affiliate marketer. He was able to amass over 100 million in affiliate sales, helping people make money online. And he's been in the space rather early as well. I was telling Sunshine the other day how impressed I was with Jang because he was so young. He was like the youngest person in the room, but he commanded the room. And he was always putting these incredible events together across the world. And so I knew at one point we'd all come together. I didn't know that it would be us three. I just knew I wanted to do business with Patrick and Jang at some point in my life. And it just so happened that I sold my business in November of last year. Really started to see the shift in artists going over to exploring NFTs and how it could, one, not just create wealth, but open up a lot of doors, in terms of, one, the royalties being baked into it, the ability to reach a desired audience, and an audience that may not be as traditional as your collector, your art collector. One, they're looking for community, but they're also looking for more access, more exclusivity. So I thought that was really cool, and that's how we all kind of came to be last August in discussing how we wanted to impact this industry.
Amazing. I remember you saying something about crypto. Do you want to talk about that a little?
That's actually Rob and Henry.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, I could share a bit about that, and then we'll pass it back to Josh to break down and explain his connection with Malachi, the I think 19-year-old wizard artist. That's the man, the myth, the artist behind the entire Monkz project. But yeah, Cryptic Crypto was a group that Actually, Henry's out there in the audience. He started back in August, and this whole group, um, it came out of the need to solve riddles, and specifically Alex Becker's Neo Tokyo riddle back in September, which is a really cool community that basically just grew into something. Now we've got about 5,000, 6,000 people in there. But to take a big step back, my actual background, I had a bachelor's in engineering, which I got back in 2013, got a 9 to 5 job for 2 years, realized in 2015, this is not the life that I signed up for. Ended up quitting my job with some savings in the bank, but just knew there was a better way of life, time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom, all that good stuff. That I'm sure a lot of us in the crypto space, that's what we're all after, right? Whether we have it right now or we're still working a 9 to 5 job. So I took that leap of faith, right? Jumping out of the airplane with no parachute and building the thing on the way down. Through that whole journey of starting and failing, I had a few businesses. I ended up meeting Matt Hofuku, and yeah, he taught me a lot in that space. Ended up growing some very large communities of my own, with a couple business partners. We hosted live events. We taught thousands of people sales, marketing, all things affiliate marketing, online coaching, all that. And it was around 2020 when I've been doing it for about 4 years at the time. I'm like, there's another level. There's another level. Didn't know what that level was. So I actually took about 8 months off for almost all of 2020, living down in Mexico City. And I got a message one day from Jang. He's like, hey man, see you're getting into NFTs. How can we make some magic happen? We got on a call and he explained the vision of Monkz to me at the point. I was only about 3-4 months into NFTs, probably 2-3 months into NFTs at the time, doing very well. As being part of CC Crypto was like kind of my home community that I was hanging out in. And with all the experience I had in the past of growing very large communities in the thousands offline, all that good stuff, I realized like the NFT space, the crypto space, the metaverse space, like this is so much more fun than typical entrepreneurship where, for example, you'd go to like a sales event and to with the intention to learn, how to improve your sales skills. But you look around and there's a lot of competitors, like direct competitors in those rooms. So it's like you want to share some information, but not all, right? In crypto, NFTs, the whole metaverse game, it's like everyone's super open, and the communities that naturally create themselves in this space are so interesting and most importantly fun. Like there's not a day that I've been in crypto on Discord, right, and not had fun. So yeah, I know that's going on in Wilder World here. That's one of our big intentions with Monkz moving forward. And yeah, that's kind of how I met up with the guys here as well, right? Knowing Jang back 4 or 5 years, just getting acquainted to Patrick and Josh here over the past few months has been that these guys have been a pleasure to work with. I'm excited for you guys to hear more about Patrick's backstory from him himself. But yeah, that's a little bit of my story. But Josh, I'm curious, dude, if you want to share a bit about Malachi and Malachi, the artist behind the Monkz project. I've got some graphics, some of his artwork, and Instagram and Twitter and whatnot ready to. So
Yeah, so in choosing the artist for Crypto Monks, we did our diligence, obviously working with a ton of artists over the years, up to 1,000 actually. I went with Malachi. Malachi is 18 years old. He's in his second semester at UCLA. He's the highest grossing artist on Canvas Cultures. He's done over 1.5 million physical sales. Um, but more importantly, man, the kid is just extremely driven. His style is just so clean, and he's been contracted by ESPN Complex Magazine. Has over 180,000 followers online following him. A lot of celebrities, athletes. Snoop Dogg recently had his album cover designed by him. So Snoop Dogg's last album cover was called "I Want to Thank Me," and that's a Malachi commission piece. So I mean, the young kid is he's great. He's such a he brings so much style to this, right? I mean, there was a lot of intricate details with the weaponry, with the backgrounds, all of the traits. Everything was hand drawn, and we've spent about 2.5 3 months on this project, just from an aesthetic standpoint, just narrowing down exactly what we wanted to convey with these warrior monks. So super excited for you guys to see the art, and want to go ahead and transition to Matthew, if we can.
Yo, what's going on, guys? First of all, thank you guys for having us out here. Like Josh was saying, we're heavy into Zero and Wild, and so really excited to be here. And it's going to be one of the long-term projects that we're going to continue recommending to our group as well. But for a little bit quick on my background, I'll pass over to Pat. My background is in the affiliate marketing space. I created a affiliate marketing education platform and a front and back end marketing system for the last offer that we promoted that allowed students to do about $100 million in sales. And so background being in like paid advertising and conversions and sales. And then got into crypto decently early in about 2015. Didn't really take NFTs seriously until about the beginning of this year, where I didn't really understand the business applications. I was really busy with business myself, so I didn't take the time to look into it until I really saw Gary Vee do VeeFriends, and I see like every NFT comes with 3 years tickets to his event. Some of them come with a one-on-one call. Some of them come with, you get to go to a Jets game with him. And so I really started seeing like the business applications of this, and really realized that like I got to dive into this space and really get to know it. So really started submerging myself in the space in the same way that I looked at affiliate marketing, was find the people that are getting the results and model and follow them. And really quickly found that community was really everything, and wanted to find the communities to get into. So I ended up getting into a few different alpha groups, got into CyberKongs, and just in that group in the first 30 days did about $500,000. And that's where I started getting like, oh, damn, like access to information, and really access to information first is probably the most valuable thing when it comes to this space. And that's what we wanted to be able to do. And so over the last little while, we've got a good solid group of about 20 of us that are all in around the 7 to 8 figure range when it comes to NFTs. So we want to be able to cultivate and create a really great space where we're showing not only the NFT projects that we're getting into, but also the liquidity pools, the DeFi projects, the coins that we're getting into, and really kind of taking it from a space where we're getting people access to information and getting it first. And then what's really cool about that is on top of that, what we're able to do is with Patrick's background in on-chain data, we can actually start making some really educated decisions based on what whales are doing in the market. And that's where Patrick kind of comes in, where he's one of the world leading experts when it comes to on-chain data. And it's amazing the stuff that you can do. And so Patrick, maybe you want to come out and share a little bit about your background, and we can get into Monkz.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys,
I'd just like to quickly guide everybody in the channel. We have art that's being dropped, the art that's being referenced in the conversation in the generals channel. So you can pop over there. The Monkz team is posting a lot of really interesting content. So I want to just make sure that you're also following the general channel too, and staying in that conversation, because they're linking to a lot of the references they're talking about. So go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah. All right, you guys can hear me okay, right? This is like I've been most excited to come on Wilder, and after you guys raided our servers last night, it was game on basically. So so my name is Patrick Garrell. I've been in data science and finance for the better part of the last 15 years. Actually in finance a lot longer before I ever became an engineer. But around 2014, I was hired to become the CTO. I worked my way up to become CTO of a company called Speaker, which was the world's largest social influencer data as well as marketing platform. So I used to do all the data mining for basically all the Fortune 500s. And, we're partnered with like Condé Nast, Time Magazine, CAA, it's Creative Artists Agency, right? So yeah, CAA, it's all the big guys. Mm-hmm. And what I used to do was map out entire social networks. So I would aggregate about 300 million profiles a day and map them out to see how they responded to certain brands or with certain influencers. But basically, it's just giant social graphs, right? And so I got a wild hair in early 2017, actually 2016, early 2017, to start doing the same thing on Ethereum. And I started mapping out all the wallets and transactions on Ethereum. And for the people who love data science and love information, basically it's an ontological model is what we call it. Every transaction on Ethereum is from one wallet to another wallet, which is a subject, predicate, object, which is what we call an ontology. And so those ontologies describe to us all of the types of activity that people are into, whether it's arbitrage or they're moving funds from an exchange to reap yield somewhere else, or if they're early ICO investors, or if they're doing leverage trading. We can see everything, and we can see the entire chain. And it's funny because someone was talking about anonymity here, but I'll give you an example of how transparency and anonymity collide. What I used to do was map out all the wallets that were early investors in ICO wallets. This was my first heuristic. It was to find venture capital wallets, right? And so I would map out all the wallets that invested in early ICOs, and I would cluster them together to see how many of them had participated in many of them, or how many wallets were constantly early in ICO projects in 2017. And so what I did was I mapped out all those wallets, found the ones that were always making strategic plays. And what I found out was they were all talking to each other. They were all friends. That's why they were all making the same moves. So the next thing I did, and this kind of goes to that anonymity part, was I downloaded the holdings. I basically aggregated the holdings of tokens that were in those wallets, and I went and purchased a copy of the Crunchbase data set. And what I did was I found all the investors that had invested in those projects, and I compared the holdings of the wallets to the investments that those investors had made. And I found those investors' wallets, or at least wallets that were holding the tokens that those investors had basically gotten into positions for. So there it goes. I had identified their wallets, and I hit some of them up on LinkedIn. They didn't like it too much, so I quit doing it. So, anyways, yeah. I mean, my greatest takeaway was, a blockchain is actually a social network of value. And so what we were doing was we were mapping the value to find out who the most influential and the best players were. And believe it or not, it's not hard to do. And we got so good at doing this that we were able to spot insider trading. And the guy that we had hired to be CEO actually was an SEC expert witness. And so we talked to the SEC about this, like, hey, if we can spot this activity, what does it mean? And basically came back to us and said, yeah, of course, insider trading is illegal, but because the data is public, you can still trade on it, which I always equate to, somebody following Nancy Pelosi's portfolio or something to that extent. But so this stuff is absolutely amazing. I mean, we're able to spot who are the most sophisticated investors, things that they're doing. If you guys were on our channel just last night too, we were kind of screwing around, but my boy Huckmad's on here, who we just became friends this week, right? We're finding positions together, and I'll go on there and I'll sit down with people and we'll absolutely kill it. It is a lot of fun. I have so much fun working with everybody. When you guys came on last night, it just kind of turned into just a blasé session of us going through stuff. But there's just a lot to come too, right? So I'll just kind of digress a little bit more back about the data and the information. So why is this important to Monkz especially? So we used to have this ideology at first, which was the company I was doing I had founded for data analytics, it stood for financial resources, statistics, and technologies, but it was always about front-running slower traders because we could see everything that was going on. So that was kind of our joke, right? But here with Monkz, it's kind of the same thing. It's not that we're trying to front-run anybody or do anything stupid like that. We just think that as soon as people get access to the information, the first thing they do is they react to it, right? And they take action. They usually make a move. The next thing they do, and sociologically, is they go and they share their position. They'll post it on a channel somewhere to get validation about what they did, right? And so what you actually have there is the normal reflexive curve of influence taking place in a market. And people love this because it's social currency. So there's a real sociological aspect to how this works. So what it comes down to is you basically want information before everybody else, right? And thanks for posting that, Rob. That was Speaker was actually the fastest growing tech company in North America 2 years in a row. Then we got in trouble because of the 2016 elections and all the crazy stuff that was going on. But anyway, so this kind of segues perfectly into Monkz and what's going on. And I can talk about this for days, but I hope you can just stop me if I'm going a little too far here. But Monkz is basically the character set that controls our DAO called Ascension. And so we know that 2017, 2018 was kind of the year of, let's say ICOs and tokens, but, it turned into 2019, 2020, 21 being the years of the NFT. In 2022, 23 is probably going to be the years of the DAO, the decentralized autonomous organization. And to be honest, DAOs are probably going to become some of the largest organizations in the world, and we'll probably do it at record speed, which is going to be amazing. Absolutely fascinating what's going to happen. economically for us here. And so, so check this out. There's a problem with the way that autonomous organizations work, and it's actually well documented. It's something that we call the tragedy of the commons and the anti-commons, where you have people in the commons that are used to getting some kind of like universal basic income from their participation in the DAO. And what happens is it ends up making the DAO kind of plateau. You can't really get any further if nobody's really participating. They're just extracting value and not putting value back in. We saw this happen with quite a few, actually. Secondly, a lot of DAOs were started at the height of the market, so it makes it very hard for anybody to participate, especially when the UBI quits coming in. The other part of this is the anti-commons, where you have individuals that have done all the work. They finally feel like they don't need to share it with anybody, right? And so what happens is it plateaus again because you have only a couple valuable people who have quit sharing what they've done. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to stimulate the economy in a DAO, right? And how do you do that? And the best way, and it's only worked in all of humanity, by the way, is feudalism, right? People who feel like they're being taken advantage can actually step up and stand up. And you have to think about why this is important. In decentralized economies, you have free enterprise, but it also means you have monopolies. And there's only one way to take out a monopoly, and it's usually by force, right? So, we see this as a really a way to gamify the experience of what a traditional DAO is. And the members of the DAO, the Monkz themselves, there's 3,333, will be able to basically keep adding to their characters and keep leveling up with their characters as decisions are made towards running the autonomy of the organization. And when I mean autonomy, it's basically the entire organization is going to be up for grabs for the community. And this is what makes it so exciting for us. It's the access for other projects to join our DAO. It's the treasury and where all the money to fund the DAO projects goes. The factories that create all the NFTs that make the weapons and the armor that our monks use. The merchants, the merchandising, the branding that goes along with this. Basically everything that Josh does, right? Josh and Matt. The product itself. So if you guys know, Josh has been killing it with canvas cultures. We want to actually make physical NFTs out of this stuff and offer this to our community to sell because they own the rights to it, right? And then finally, the marketing. And that means, doing things like this with you guys and, how we actually spend our marketing, what we decide to do as a community. So, I look at it like this. I love community. I love working with the community. And what we have is actually a really strong, tight community. And I think people are starting to see the value of this stuff. And this is how we keep them engaged, and this is how we keep them stimulated, and this is how we continue to grow, right? So, that's to me what Monkz is. Obviously, there's the 20% that are not technical, the 20% of the people on our channel that are hyper technical can extract value from the data and the tools that we be developing. The other 80% can participate just by being a part of that community and being a part of Ascension and using your monk as a character to help us come to decisions. So I hope that gives a little bit more detail about Monkz. I can definitely go into more detail if you guys would like. But yeah, this is some fun stuff.
I love that you want to reward your community for like skill-based activities. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your temples.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is Rob, man. Rob's the master of this stuff. This guy's insane.
The temples. Who here? Drop me a me in the chat if you guys have been part of any of the Monkz temples so far. We've had 6 to date over the past 4 weeks or so. We've been doing about 1 to 2 per week. I see some me's, me, not me yet. All right, good news. We've got 2 more to come. So that was actually, I was explaining a little about how myself and Jen connected, or I guess rather we first connected in 2017, reconnected in the whole crypto NFT space in late 2021. And obviously he saw I was in the space, and a little background on that is how far do I go back? I had the opportunity. I downloaded all the software to mine Bitcoin in 2011. I didn't buy my first Bitcoin until 2017. When I saw Gary V's doodles go from a half ETH floor to a 20 ETH floor, that was around August of last year. I'm like, shit, I am not waiting 6 years to get into NFTs, right? So I went freaking heads down 16, 18, 20 hours a day in the NFT space. I was grinding through whitelist for August, September, October, like I'm sure a lot of you guys and girls were.
Yeah.
And through that process, I really enjoyed the riddle solving, the skill based whitelisting process rather than the luck based, or obviously like invite 5 friends and get to level 5 in a Discord. So by group, and we have Henry and Chinter on here as well. Crypto, which is now around 6,000 members, started back then in order to crack these riddles of all these NFT projects that were launching in August, September, October. I mentioned Neo Tokyo, right? Alex Becker's riddles back then. And Jang reached out. He's like, "Hey, dude, I see you're in the space. How can we make something happen for Monkz?" Right? He explained the vision for Monkz. I was immediately on board. I'm like, if you give me an opportunity, an attractive and appealing opportunity, I'm all in. Right? I want to work on a project. This is the first one I've been asked to work on. I'm all in. Right? And what we really decided, the best way to create this awareness for higher level people, right? This is not just another NFT PFP project. This is not what Monkz is at all. So what we wanted to do is create this filtration system to filter out the people that are just in for a quick flip and actually attract the ones that are genuinely interested and, have a relatively high IQ in the space, and they're willing to also commit and put in the time to crack the codes, to solve the riddles, to earn a whitelist spot. That's where the idea of these temples came about. So we've released 6 so far, and basically what these are is it takes anywhere from 10 minutes upwards to 2 hours on some of our harder ones to crack these codes. We've been intertwining ciphers and whatnot into images and metadata. We've had some really cool video riddles or video temples where different codes are embedded, whether over photo, audio, metadata, all that. And then we ask certain questions, right? And if people can crack the codes, they can answer the questions correctly. So through that process, we've whitelisted about anywhere from 100 to 350 or so per temple. And we've had 6 so far, 2 more coming, one most likely towards the end of the other sometime next week before mint. And yeah, people are having a blast with them. Maybe Jang, do you want to touch on anything I missed there as far as maybe the people in the Monkz Discord voice chat? Go ahead, man.
Yeah, no, it's great. And one of the cool things that happens, and Rob's very, very, very good at this. Any of you guys that have gone through and experienced it, it's something that's really, really fun and enjoyable. And we didn't do something like, there are some projects that it takes 72 hours to grind this stuff out, and people are missing sleep, and they're, we didn't want to do that. We wanted to make something that's fun and enjoyable, but that's, can be accomplished in a decent amount of time. But one of the cool things that started to happen was that people started to band together in these groups, and they were in voice chats, and they were in little group chats, and they were kind of all over working together and building bonds together, cracking these riddles and codes. And then by the time they got to the point that they actually earned the whitelist, you see the excitement out of all of them. They're all so pumped. They're like, oh, like I earned this, right? And so people got really, really, really excited. It created really cool bonds. And by the time the end of it, they've really earned it, and they felt like they've earned it. And it was like this great accomplishment for them to be able to make through. So it's a really, really cool experience that derived from kind of all of this. And it really kind of tied into everything that we really want to do here, where we want to gamify the entire experience, just like we're doing with the DAO. We want to make this kind of like a fun and enjoyable experience throughout the entire process, including the whitelist process. And so up until this point, and we'll have some specials for you guys later today, where we'll have some opportunities for you guys to get whitelist for being here. There's really one of the only other ways to get whitelist other than being able to go through and solve the riddles. Which is really, really cool. So to kind of give you like a quick little like breakdown of kind of what we gone over. So essentially, like we all believe that getting access to information and getting access to information first is one of the most important and crucial elements when and having success in the space. And so we want to be able to do that through our alpha group, where we're going to be kind of communitively all working together and sharing what projects, NFTs, liquidity pools, and things like that we're getting into. Then also based on how the DAO votes and what we would like to see, building out tools that can help people make those types of educated decisions. So between the alpha group and the tools, people with access to capital and liquidity are going to be able to take advantage of a lot of those opportunities. And then one of the cool part about this too is that when we get into the DAO, for those people that are maybe priced out of liquidity pools, or they're priced out of getting metaverse land, or they're priced out of getting some of these other investments, now they can actually still take part of that because we can do all of those things in the DAO. I mean, it was super funny. Patrick was telling us about these liquidity pools because he's very well versed on them, and he's like, "Dude, you guys got to really see this stuff. Like, it's actually crazy what you can do here." And he finally got us to just throw in a test pool. We did a $57,000 or so, and maybe Patrick, you want to kind of jump in, kind of how that all works, so you guys can get a feel for that.
I'd like to just jump in before kind of just to highlight a few really interesting things from the community perspective, right? So like in the concept of building community, there are certain things like rituals and celebrations and instances where you create moments for your community to bond. And I think that what you guys are doing in building out your riddles and building out these temple experiences is you guys are actually building a bonding experience for your community, which I think is really interesting. And I find that really fascinating about how you guys are approaching dropping the collection, whitelisting, and then also creating a little bit of tension, right, where there's this level of competitiveness. And people competing for control, but all the while people are working together to kind of solve these riddles. And so I think that's what's really interesting. And on top of that, you're creating an opportunity for people to learn, right? So while people are banding together to complete your temples, you guys mentioned at one point that people are banding together in groups to solve things. And I think that creates a level of camaraderie in this space that's really, I haven't heard a lot of communities doing it so well and so passionately with the type of knowledge that you guys have.
Oh yeah, I mean, as you guys know too, community is the biggest part of this, right? I mean, you guys know that. I mean, Wilder is like one of the strongest communities out there, right? So how?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, just based on what we've had as far as interactions too, like you guys, everybody loves the brand. Everybody loves to be on the server talking to other people in the community. We try to do the same thing. But at the end of the day, we're trying to help everybody out that's in the game. We know it's kind of hard for people who are not technical, who are not coders, right? So this can get technical. A lot of this stuff can get very, very technical, but that's why we're here. We're trying to kind of help everybody along. And we definitely try to spend as much time with the community members as possible. But when they do those temples, it's unlike anything I've ever seen, to be honest, especially on Discord. We were on our Discord, and there was like 50 people just in chat, but then there was like 10 other communities at the same time checking in. Like, oh, it's absolutely insane.
Nice.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's fascinating because it happens just naturally. In our community, we have a few sub gangs that are just emerging by themselves. It's really, really beautiful, actually. I love that you bring that up regarding the temples and people bonding with that. It's really, really
So
cool.
we factionalized our audience, right? So there's actually what we have called factions in Monkz, right? And there's actually 3 primary factions right now, which control a majority of the operation, but not the DAO itself. The 3 factions are ones that were named after us, the 3 founders. Mine is Shuhari, which stands for Shuhavri, which is an old programmatic way of approaching problems. The other one is Daiko, which is that is actually Josh's faction, and then we have Sohei, which is Matt's faction. And so we'll be breaking off. And one of the things that we decided to do early on was we'll initially mint 500 individuals or monks to each faction, but a majority of the initial monks will be unfactioned. And what we're hoping to see is communities like Wilder create their own factions and battle us for control. Because the idea, and there's kind of the saying that comes along with this, is that, and you can kind of take this at face value, but your quest for perfection should never impede your path of progress, right? And if we're not the best for the position, then the people in the community are probably better likely to find someone who is. So that's why we're doing this.
Amazing. So if everyone's ready, I think it might be a good time to take some questions from the audience.
Yeah, it'd be great. Do we have any in AMA Town Hall?
Oh, if anyone has any
Let's-
questions, feel free to
like-
raise your hand.
Like Gent is going to go ahead and
Oh,
ask
nice.
the questions. I'm going to invite him up to speak. I think he has to accept the invite.
Yeah, there's usually a little green button at the top of the screen that you have to click after they accept you, right? Jen, you might see it up there.
Well, while we wait, I think it's also a good time to introduce that the Wilder Nation will have 333 spots on the whitelist for your guys' upcoming drop. And so I think that's going to be really exciting to see who gets those spots.
Oh yeah, we're super excited about it. Did we already go over? We did already kind of share the information about Mint. Matt, do you want to cover it one more time for anybody that was late?
Go for the mint date?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mint.
Yep. So we're going to be minting 3,333 monks at 0.08 ETH, and the mint date is going to be February 4th. And basically, what we've had so far is that the first initial people they got that submitted their wallets got a 10-minute head start because we're going to be slightly over whitelisting. The only way, basically, we have a whitelist and an allow list. And the only way to be able to mint is going to be on there. There will be no public sale. And so because of you guys, what we're going to do is half of the 333 will get on that 10-minute list. The other half will still be on the allow list there to be able to get in on the whitelist for February 4th. Yeah, at 10 a.m. PST, it'll start. The 10-minute head start will go from 10 a.m. to 10:10. And then at 10:10, the allow list will start, and it will be 100% on whitelist and allow list. There will be no public sale after that.
Nice. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the whitelist sign up in the general channel for everyone here who would like to sign up to try to participate in that.
I know you also have a one-of-one Wilder monk. So
Ooh,
sure?
Yeah. So,
this thing is sick.
yeah, we had a great conversation with Frank 2 days ago, and we were discussing the whitelist spots and came up with a good number to be represented by the Wilder World and Wilder Nation. But then he goes, man, you were talking about gifting me that one-of-one Wilder monk. Why not gift it to the community? And then my head exploded. I said, why wouldn't we do that? So we have a one-of-one hand-drawn Wilder monk that we'd love to raffle off to the community. And we can obviously work closely with Sunshine and Rain in discussing the inner workings of that. But yeah, that's something we have planned for you as well.
Ooh.
So exciting.
It's so cool. Looking forward to it, guys.
I'd also like to just hint at some future collaborations that we've discussed, and those have to do with some scavenger hunt experiences for the Crypto Monks X Wilder World community. Rob, do you want to speak a little bit about that, or do you want to kind of hold off?
I mean, I would just say when Wyoming. Like I have yet to build out like an actual metaverse riddle or hunt, but I think that would be so sick. That's where we're all headed, right? So I'm pumped for that. With that said, let's keep in touch with for the Monkz Wilder team, and I'd be totally down to put something together for next week, and I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun with that. So I'm all on board.
Well, you heard it here first, everyone. So we're just at the 50-minute mark. I'll just ask if anybody from the audience wants to ask any questions. Feel free to raise your hand, and we'll allow the last minute for any questions. But if not, then we can start to close down.
I see one question here from Champagne Wilder, just saying she's a little bit confused on the correlation between the Monkz and the work that PJ has mentioned and how it connects. Maybe Patrick, you can kind of talk about how that kind of can tie into stuff we can do with the DAO and the tools that we can build and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the work that I've done is really just my professional career as an expose, I would say, right? It mostly focuses around data science, and finance. And to be honest, that is all from former work that I've done. That's stuff that, I actually was the founder of the company that started most of this stuff. So if you've been on our channel and you've sat on there the last couple of nights, what the best thing I can tell people is it doesn't amass to a huge amount of resources to being able to do this kind of stuff. We do this, I've been showing people, and Rob and Chinter were on here and helping me explain this stuff, but anybody can do this, and it's actually not that hard. It takes about 15-20 minutes a day to actually go through and try to look at positions and make determinations. So how does that evolve into Monkz? Well, we have to have more than just a feudalistic DAO. There has to be some substance there. And everybody talks about alpha. We're in a point in the market right now where the market's gone upside down. And some people bought in, they've lost half of the value that they put in the crypto because of the market. But it's funny to me as I look at that, I'm like, hey, we're still in like the top 85 percentile of prices right now. This is, this is great. This is absolutely glorious. And a lot of people forget that and they get deterred by it. That's not what I want to see. I have a feeling that crypto is a black hole of value. And anything that goes in hardly ever finds its way out. And it's going to be more and more like that as we continue to move forward with this stuff and we continue to build out a metaverse and augment our reality with the digital one. And it's going to be a beautiful thing because it's, this is something that's mostly where art and technology have collided. And it seems like art is actually leading here versus technology. Hence why you have people so hung up on paying high fees for stuff. They don't care. They just don't. Right? It's pushing the technology in a new direction, which is absolutely amazing for us who are in the community, right? But if you only look at it in terms of dollars and you don't look at it in terms of, acquisition, right? Then you're going to have a hard time kind of dealing with the down market. So the reason that this stuff that I do plays into this is first, we're trying to add more value, right? And like I said, people who get information first are typically the ones that stand the most to gain, right? Everything that, and you guys probably see this too, if you've ever been in alpha groups, your alpha leaks out, period. It's always going to. And that's, that's just natural. And you expect that because people are also building themselves up with the social currency and hard work of others. And so with that being said, the way that I keep people engaged and the way that I like to see people engage with us is by just straight giving them results and showing them how to attain results. And it keeps people coming back. And I was talking to some of the Wilder community last night. It took us all about 15 minutes to do some of this stuff and for me to explain it. And to me, that's a win. If I could do that to 10 people every night for the next year, I would feel like I've done a huge service to humanity, right? So the data and the information itself isn't necessarily what the product is, but it's the byproduct of the community. And so I hope that we continue to see this. And honestly, I hope that we develop tools that will, to be honest, like I want to see a lot of our tools actually integrate with Discord because I thought that would be freaking sweet, but we'll see. This stuff, we've got such a long way to go. And if you think about how creative we could be as a community, this whole, what are the two ways that you guys primarily do this, right? Discord and Twitter, probably, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, that's the community. That's who we're around, and that's who we connected to. So how can we take advantage of that? And what can we provide that makes our values saturate the community and make people want to come and hear us talk and see what we do? And honestly, that's the only way I know how to do it. Share what I know, right? The purpose of life is an experience to be shared. So, why wouldn't we?
Right. And I think too with this, with crypto becoming, an emerging industry, and I say that because still only about 1% of people are like involved in NFTs, right? And so I think when we start to see that expand, see that number expand from 5% of people in the world to 10% of people who are involved in NFTs and crypto, then we start to recognize that information, access to information, supporting community, allowing accessibility for a wider audience, right? Then it actually increases the stability of the industry, and then we all prosper, right? It's like that saying, "A rising tide lifts all boats," and I think that that's something that we hear a lot in this industry, but it rings true because if we can all grow together, then we can actually grow this industry and prosper.
There's a beautiful term in this, which was whether you love him or hate him. George Soros wrote a book back in 1985 or 86 called The Alchemy of Finance. And I posted something here in general just a little bit earlier, which was it was basically three circles that point to price, fundamentals, and perception, right? And we're in what I would consider what most people in the industry would say is a down market right now because they bought really, really high or whatever. But you got to think about this, right? And this is what's so true, especially about these socio-financial events, is that the world really is what you make of it. Okay. These are, in the best terms, anybody that you talk to in high finance knows that this is a reflexive pattern, meaning that, you know, even what people observe is just going to be hyper exaggerated in value because of the way that we react to markets, right? So, yeah, the best way to put it is the world is what you make of it. So we got to try to make it a better place, period, especially starting with crypto.
Yeah.
That's the wildest spirit ringing true.
There it is. Yeah. And we love this stuff, right? I mean, yeah, you guys know. And you guys probably have so much fun with this large of a community too. You guys have so much activity going on.
So
Some
fun.
great people in here. I was talking to some of you guys last night too, man. I had a lot of fun. I hope to see you guys back on
Yeah.
and talk to you guys more.
Our daily actions and intentions are for the community. So anything to make it better for them.
Of course. Of course.
Love it. Hey, I saw a few questions come through in chat. If we have time to ask them, I'd love to pose these to the team.
Yeah, I think we have about 3 minutes. Yeah, feel free to shoot them.
Perfect. So yeah, there's 3 questions. They're all on the same topic. Number 1 is where is the fit with Wilder World in Miami? Number 2 is did we already hear what kind of epic building the Monkz, will rise in Miami? And 3 is any plans for an epic headquarters in Miami? So all talking about Miami. Any plans on metaverse plays with the Monkz? Anything, guys?
You want to take that? Jane, you want to take that?
I mean, wouldn't it be cool if there was a monastery in Miami? That'd be kind of
That's what I'm talking about.
that'd be kind of cool.
I love that.
Absolutely. We're
it would be
definitely in
amazing.
talks. The plan would be for the V2s to be interoperable within Wilder World and Miami. And I mean, it's at the top of our discussion board. So we're excited about the future with the Wilder Nation.
We've been having some meditation with sunshine, so that would be pretty cool for people to enter and
Any other questions, Rob?
participate.
Yeah, that's all I saw that came through over text at the moment. Of course, there's the I think some people are replying to it. Sunshine dropped the whitelist sign up form. I'm not sure. Was that pinned? Yeah, that was pinned. So if you guys are in general chat, just click the pin messages and look for Sunshine's link in all bold.
I can go ahead and share that again. Yeah, so I think for like just to kind of close the loop on that question, we'll be working closely with the Crypto Monkz team to explore a scavenger hunt for our shared communities. And so I think you guys should keep an eye out next week to see what we have in store for you. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Awesome. I'm loving the chat going on right now. Will we have to take our kicks off to enter the monastery? Sandals, wandals, like let's go. Awesome. Awesome. Good stuff. Well, hey guys, girls, appreciate you having us out here. It's been a blast. We're on the 1 hour mark on the spot. So we've got this recorded. You've got this recorded. We'll put a recording in our Discord, and maybe you'll be doing the same in Wilder World Discord.
That's right. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you everybody for joining us today for Community AMA with Sunshine and Rain. We will share the link to this audio recording in case your friends didn't make it, or in case you want to go back and re-listen. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the Discord.
Thank you.
Later, everybody.